all the games I used to play in my younger, wilder days. The game of clubs and tees had never crossed my mind. But after some discussion with my closest, dearest friends, I decided that...
Welcome into another episode of the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast. My name is Andrew Putters. This is Joe Nicely, lead editor, golf editor at Rotoballer.com. And it's battle conditions tonight, Joe. You got race cars, you said, going by in your neighborhood. I got kids crying in the background. They're wolfing down Chick-fil-A right now. Just got done with a nose 6 and under soccer game. So they're wolfing it down just a few feet from me over here in the kitchen. But hey, work must go on. There's work to be done. We got through the Zurich Classic. Now it's time to get to real golf. And before we do that, go ahead and hit us up. What about rotoballer.com? What they got going on over there, Joe?
Yeah, AP, we got you ready for the week. Taking you all the way to the Tour Championship. You can go to rotoballer.com. Check out Josh Bennett's amazing course breakdown that he does every week. Spencer Aguiar's hitting you up with a Vegas report that continuously picks winners. And you can check out my DraftKings Core 4. You can get it all for $69.99 for the rest of the year. Use promo code NICE when you sign up, and you'll get a little bit of a discount.
All right, rotoballer.com, best place in the world for your daily fantasy needs. Zurich Classic, a real good team won. Leishman, Cam Smith. I wouldn't say came out of nowhere. Two guys that we like to talk about on this podcast, whether it be good or bad. Cam Smith being an up-and-comer world player, really, and Leishman, a good solid vet that just year in, year out has been great. So any surprises from the Zurich Classic before we start talking about the Valspar?
No big surprises, AP. Didn't watch a shot of it, man. Kind of followed it a little bit on the app, but it was raining here in East Tennessee last Saturday. I think it rains every single Saturday here, so I couldn't play golf. So I didn't watch golf. I just kind of used the week to reset for the Zurich. But man, it's a cool event. It's not one I've really gotten into yet as far as really focusing on it DFS wise. Threw a couple lineups in just to have some fun, but kind of use the week to recharge. Got a big stretch of golf coming up, kind of leading to the PGA Championship next month, and get started off with the Valspar this week, man. Really good tournament, good field, and a tough golf course.
Yeah, so speaking of your recharge, what do you got in your hand there, Joe?
Oh, yeah, I got a little something to mail today, buddy. The Bagels ball. It came, so I worked really hard for this. Proud of that one. Thanks, Bagels. Appreciate you getting it out. I know how tough it is to get to the post office, being that you work at the post office, but I appreciate the hustle, baby.
There it is. Yeah, Joe took down the winner take all event 2 weeks ago. Did you get out Sunday and play at all?
Didn't get a chance to, man. Did some landscaping around the house. My wife loves landscaping, and what that means for me is going and getting all the stuff and getting it kind of set up for her where she wants it, and then letting her go to town. So and hanging out with the little girl. So that's what I did over the weekend, man. It's pretty sick because I got a new driver in the garage. It's like having a new Ferrari in the driveway, and you can't take it out for a spin. So I need some sunshine here in Knoxville this upcoming weekend, man.
It was beautiful today in Knoxville, Tennessee, 75 degrees today, supposed to be 85 tomorrow. I actually got out this morning and played 36 holes this morning, so pat on the old back here. Did not play good, but, hey, that's why I got to get there and play a little more so I can I got some tournaments coming up, so I got to get ready for them, and I can only play when I get a chance to. So hopped out there this morning real quick, got in a quick 36. Played by myself, riding in a cart. So zoomed through there, played 36 in about 3 hours. So, just trying to hit a lot of shots, try to get ready. Some tournaments coming up. So keep you updated on that. So let's just get right here in the Valspar Classic. Head to Innisbrook Resort, Copperhead at Palm Harbor, Florida. Par 71, 7,300 yards, tip meter 12, which seems to be more the regular. It seems like for years they were always talking about 10.5 to 11 on tour. It seems they stepped it up, and week in, week out, we see greens running about a 12 week in, week out. other than the majors, that they usually don't release. This golf course, obviously being in Florida, is going to be 100% Bermuda, whether it be different types of Bermuda throughout the golf course. Um, Course architect was Larry Pickard, 1971, renovated in 15. Um, Fairways are not overseeded, so it should be a great full Bermuda there down there. Speaking of Bermuda, we were real close in Knoxville, Tennessee, to getting that Bermuda just to come out and be green as can be, Joe. The Brook's looking good when I drive by.
Yeah, man, ready for it. Going well over there. Still coming in. We've had some rain. Going to get a little sunshine. So very nice growing conditions. So hopefully, over the next couple of weeks, I'll get to get out there a lot more. I need to work on my game, AP. My bad and your bad are completely different, bud.
Hey, you got that new driver though.
I'm sure
400.
I'm sure that'll fix everything.
Oh yeah, that new driver sure will have $400 driver. But hey, it is what it is. Back to the Valspar Classic. Like I said, the course was in 1971. This is a great golf course, great event. It's really a test for the players. This tournament's been around since around 2000. Like I said, really good test for the players. You're going to see somewhere maybe around 10, 12 under is going to win this thing. Could be a little bit less, could be a little bit higher, depending on the course conditions and wind conditions. And really, I want to say different types of people have won here, but one thing that you have seen over the winners, and so 19, there's been 19 winners in this event, or actually 20. It started in 2000. No, I'm sorry, didn't have the tournament in 2001 because of September 11th. But what you've seen over all the champions here is really a majority of them are really good iron players, Joe. Now there is a couple of times in there, like say a Luke Donald, um, Adam Hadwin, or really Jordan Spieth of 2015 won. But you're also seeing Retief Goosen, Sean O'Hare, Charles Schwartzel, John Sinden, BJ Singh, even John Houston back in the day. These were great iron players. So that is something you want to first put in your hip pocket starting out. Um, oh, and of course Paul Casey, right? So something you want to put that right out of the gate in your hip pocket. What's your thoughts on that, Joe?
Yeah, 100% agree, AP. You hit the nail on the head, man. If I if I had to look at one stat this week, it's iron play. It's strokes gained approach, greens and regulation, ball striking, man. That's what I'm looking at. Really tough golf course, as you mentioned. This is one of the few times, a year that we can maybe see a single digit winning score. That's very realistic, depending on how the wind goes this week. Tight fairways, man. It's a Florida course, but not truly a Florida layout, man. Tree line fairways, very tight. These fairways are actually as tight as Harbortown. A golf course we just saw a couple weeks ago with kind of famously tight fairways, and Copperhead is even tighter than those. So looking for ball strikers, strokes gained approach is definitely what I'm weighing the most this week. As you mentioned, over the years, we kind of see these guys rise to the top of the leaderboard as the week progresses. Great ball strikers, great iron players, and really kind of the cream of the crop. Andrew, guys we see play well in majors do well here. Guys we see play well in tough conditions do well here. I mean, you mentioned Paul Casey. We see guys like Louis Oosthuizen at the top of this leaderboard a lot. Patrick Reed's played really well here. Guys we'll get into this week. That's what I'm looking at. And another kind of interesting little thing about this golf course, 5 par threes. Par three scoring isn't something I normally give a ton of weight to, but it's something I'll definitely look at this week. We have 5 this week, so I'm going to be looking at par three scoring around 200 yards. And whether it's coincidence or not, Andrew, if you look back, a player that leads this field in strokes gained par three, 200 plus yards over long-term scoring, Paul Casey, the guy that's won here the last 2 times this tournament's been played.
Yeah, if my memory serves correctly, last time he won 2019, Tiger and Patrick Reed were up at the top, and he shot like a 64 in the final round. And not saying that the guys came back to him, but he got to 11 under or 10 under, and nobody could get to that number. It seemed like coming from way back. That was in 2018.
Yeah, I
I'm
think that
sorry.
was the 18,
Yeah.
18 one, and then 19 he kind of held everybody off. I think it felt like he had a pretty good lead going into the final round in 19, and kind of held the charges off and came from behind in 2018. But yeah, man, I'm looking at these guys, and we got a good field, Andrew. We've got JT, DJ. We'll get into the salary scale right now here in just a second, but really solid field. Got the PGA coming up in a couple weeks, and these guys obviously want to stay sharp. So really like this turnout we got for Valspar.
So yeah, let's jump right into the field then. Using DK salaries here, JT, DJ, Hovland, Reed, Casey, 10,000 and above. You're gonna have to pay up quite a bit to get DJ or JT, but kind of surprising to me. Hovland this high up on the money. Number one, number two. Is it just because of the past that you're going to see a Patrick Reed and Casey up there above? This much above, because I feel like they're probably lower class players overall down here with the guys below them, but they're above them this week, maybe just because of course history and odds, But Victor Hovland's surprise pricing. Where are you going in these first five, Joe?
Man, really tempting. All these guys are guys we can seriously consider this week, Andrew. Justin Thomas, obviously having a great year, won the Players, was right in the thick of things at the Masters before kind of that third round blow up. But he's played well here. Has a T18 and a T10 in 3 previous starts at Valspar. And when you start talking about iron play, man, JT shoots to the top of the list. So if you want to pay all the way up this week for JT, don't blame you. I'll probably be grabbing him where I can, but I don't know that the salary is going to allow for him to be a core piece. DJ had a T6 here in 2019. Kind of finding his way a little bit, trying to look better at Heritage, certainly than he did at the Masters and kind of over the past month or so. And you feel like he's almost trying to play himself into shape, Andrew. We saw this last year with him when he was struggling at Memorial, and he goes and plays at 3M, just playing kind of these tournaments you maybe don't expect. It feels like DJ's trying to find his way a little bit, maybe play himself into shape for the majors. Hovland, you mentioned up there at 10-5. This is his tournament debut, which is kind of scary, but man, I love the fit on paper here, Andrew, with the ball striking. We know that you want to play Hovland on tough golf courses. You want to play him on golf courses where ball striking is important. So he certainly checks all those boxes and love the kind of the projected fit here, even though we don't have any course history. And it might end up being contrarian to go to Vic right there, but I probably will in some cases. Patrick Reed's 10-3, a couple of runner-up finishes here since 2015, also a T7 in there. So you have to love the course history. We know his short game's amongst the best in the world. The ball striking can come and go, and it's one of those things with Reed. You feel like you're guessing if it's a good ball striking week, he'll probably be there with a chance to win this thing. Paul Casey really needs no introduction, man. Won this tournament the last 2 times it was played, as we mentioned, in 2018 and 2019. Hadn't got a chance to look at ownership yet. We do this on Monday night, so it's really early in the week. You kind of feel like people might talk themselves out of playing Paul Casey because it's almost so obvious to play the 2-time defending champion. But man, he's played really good golf this year, Andrew. In 4 starts leading up to the Masters, he had 2 top 10s and 2 top 5s, played well at Augusta, missed the cut at the Heritage, but he's never played well there. We talked about it leading up into Harbor Town. He's never played great in Hilton Head, so I'm not holding that against him this week, and I'm willing to go right back to the Casey well here, man.
If I'm putting anybody in the lineup in the top 5 there, it's going to be Paul Casey. Love him on this track. Obviously, his past results are a reason for that. I like your thoughts of maybe people talking themselves out of playing him because of his price. So therefore, he was going to be more of a contrarian play. Love him. Moving on down to the 9,000s. This is a stacked group here: Scheffler, Connors, Usays, and Hatton. Answer: Sanjay, Neiman, Henley. There's a lot of love in this area, and it really starts right at the top of Scotty Scheffler, Corey Connors. Connors play has been just week in, week out. It seems like he went on a little stretch here. Didn't play last week. So, but there's going to be some guys in here that you're probably going to get in a lineup that a lot of people aren't going to have, whether it be maybe a Sanjay might be overlooked. He's a great iron player. I don't know. I don't really know where to go. This is you might be better off picking a couple guys here than paying way up. So, Joe, name a couple guys in this grouping that you just can't go without.
Corey Connors. This range kind of starts and ends with me with Corey Connors. Man, he will be in a ton of my lineups this week. Kind of an obvious play. I feel like he'll be popular, but I really don't care, man. With the way the guy's playing, um, unbelievable ball striker. First in this field in greens and regulation over the last 24 rounds. Leads the field in strokes gained ball striking, strokes gained tee to green, up there in strokes gained off the tee and approach. So, I mean, you just have to love how he's playing, Andrew. Has 4 top 10s in his last 5 starts. And the one that wasn't a top 10 was a T14 at Valero. He's just doing everything well, man. Had a T16 in his only start here back in 2018. He was an alternate that got in late that year. He was a rookie, and he was actually the 54-hole leader back in 2018 in this golf tournament. So, man, I love Corey Connors. I've been riding him heavily, and I'm gonna stay on the train this week. So, ton of love for Corey Connors, man. You mentioned some other guys. Louis has a great course history here. This is the type of golf course where he seems to thrive, almost a major like layout. We know how he plays in major championships. Had a runner up here in 2019. Hatton, it seems like a good fit. Even though I'm less likely to trust Hatton than most people are, I suppose. He missed the cut here in his only start in 2019. Abraham Answer is a player that I really, really like. I was really high on him at Harbortown, and he came through, played solid. He just keeps on knocking out these top 25s, man. And you have to figure the putter's going to get hot one of these weeks, and he's going to have a chance to win a tournament here really soon. A couple other guys in the 9K range you have to love. Sung Jae, I've been lower on than most, but the irons looked really good at Hilton Head, Andrew. So you feel like maybe he's pointing in the right direction. We love him on Bermuda greens. He had a T4 here in 2019. And Joaquin Neiman, man, what else can you say about the kid? He's just been rock solid this year. Continues to consistently be a great ball striker. Exactly the type of player we're looking for on this track. He kind of reminds me of a young Paul Casey, Andrew, with how he plays and his style of game. Made the cut here in his debut back in 2019. So I love this 9K range, especially Corey Connors. Love Answer, love Neiman. I can see maybe going to an M or a Hatton here, but Connor sticks out to me in a big way, man.
Yeah, I love the Corey Connors play from course history. You know, I'm a big course history guy. I love Sanjay's thoughts just because of the possible low ownership. Moving on, 8,000s. A lot of big names in here. A lot of Taylor Gooch, a little high price in my opinion. 8,000. Kevin Na, Homa, Chris Kirk, our man, Grillo, Tringale, Palmer, Hoffman, Kokrak, Rose, Watson. Undoubtedly, my 2 favorite in this group. Both start with a K. Kokrak is iron play. Chris Kirk is just he's been in beast mode for us now for about 6 months. I'm going to stay on that train. I also like Hoffman from his he's just a great iron player. I'm done with Jay Rose. Jay Rose, I'm done with it completely. He's got his ball striking has just been horrendous. I know he shot 65 in the first round of the Masters this year, and I know he was still leading it on Saturday. But I watched every shot he hit on that Saturday round, and I think he had about 20 putts and shot even par. So, I love Bubba, but not this price. So in this group right here, I've named a few names. Joe, hit on a few of them.
Yeah, man, it's like you mentioned, this is a really fertile range. I imagine I'll be pretty camped out in this price range this week, Andrew. My eyes immediately go to Jason Kokrak, man. He's kind of Corey Connors light for me. Great ball striker, has been posting great results, has been a top 10 machine this year, and he's played really well here. Had a runner up here in 2019, a T8 in 2018, and a T7 back in 2015. And this is just his type of golf course, man. Just a ball striker's paradise. Bad putters can win here. So I love Kokrak. He's probably my favorite play in the 8K range. Rose has good course history. I feel you. It's tough to pull the trigger on him with just how inconsistent he's been. But you have to feel like if he's playing good golf, and it appears that he is, this is a track where he can find some success. Certainly has in the past. Charlie Hoffman has been a beast with the irons, man, kind of going underrated a little bit with just how good his ball striking's been over the past 2 months. The irons weren't as sharp at Harbortown, but I feel like you can look at him here. He's kind of got mixed results here, but did have a T18 back in 2019. Ron Palmer, we know he's dangerous. We know there's a lot of volatility there, but also upside. Cameron Tringali, I'll throw out. Kind of a really weird course history here. Missed the cut in his last 3 starts, but had a really strong stretch leading up to that where he played well at this golf course. I feel like he's playing the best golf of his career. You can certainly look at Cameron Tringali. Griot, we know the ball striking's there. He was right there down the stretch in Hilton Head. And then our boy, man, Chris Kirk. This is the first time in a while, Andrew, where the course history doesn't line up with the recent form. So you're kind of making a decision here whether you want to lean course history. Kirk's isn't very good. Has never finished inside the top 40 here. Or if you want to go with recent form, which is excellent. He's finished inside the top 8 in each of his last 2 starts at Valero and Harbortown. So I'm going to side with our boy Chris Kirk just because he's always a heart play of ours. But yeah, man, love this 8K range. I feel you on Gooch. I'm not getting there with the price. Even though we've seen him play well on tough courses. I never play Kevin Na. Max Home is a player that I like, but I don't know that I'll be there this week just because I really like the players priced above him.
Yeah, I agree completely, Joe, with everything you just said in that grouping. Even more fertile ground moving down, though, in the 7s, Joe. We got some studs down here, and it starts really right at the top. And I'm not talking about Keegan Bradley. I'm talking about Sam Burns, just a real good player. Had a great weekend this past weekend, the team event. Good iron player, hits the ball a long way. Strillman's a great iron player. Woodland can be. Kisner maybe don't hit the ball far, but he hits the irons well, and he's big on Bermuda greens. But one name that I will be big time on this, and I hate to say it out loud, Glover is a sure fit for this tournament, Joe. Even you have to admit that he might need to get out the eraser on the old turn list and erase that name because he's a fit for me in this golf tournament, Joe. Hit on a few in the 7,000s that you're looking at, plus or minus.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to look back at the list. I really kind of hope I wrote Lucas Glover down in pencil and not pen. Because like you said, I might need to erase that this week. He's been playing really good golf, Andrew, and he's played great here. Has 3 top 25s in his last 5 Valspar starts. So yeah, man, I might make an exception and toss Glover in some GPP lineups, even though I refuse to depend on him. But yeah, man, Glover sticks out. Sam Burns, you mentioned, kind of been up and down this year. Had some really, really good moments and some really tough moments. But he looked good at Harbortown. It was his best tee to green outing since that breakout performance at Genesis where he finished 3rd out there. He's played well on this golf course, a T30 and a T12 in 2 starts, and we always like him on Bermuda. So I'll certainly be looking at Sam Burns. Kevin Strillman, veteran that's played well here. I believe he's a former winner here, actually. So you can look at Strillman, who's been trending in the right direction. Charles Howell III has also been trending in the right direction and has good course history. We think of CH3 on the West Coast, but this has probably been his best Florida event. Has a T5 and a T10 here in his last 5 Valspar starts. So, yeah, man, kind of the 75 and up. I think there's some very, very serious plays that you can consider. And as you move down, man, it gets a little bit spottier, more GPP plays, Andrew, than guys I really want to be depending on. Cam Davis, we know he's an explosive scorer. You can certainly look at him. Denny McCarthy's been on a very nice run, even though I prefer ball strikers on this layout rather than putters, but he does have a T9 here on his Valspar resume, so I think you can give Denny McCarthy a look. Cam Champ with Drew today. He's there at 7,500, just to throw that out there. Don't put Cam Champ in your lineups. And a guy right below him at 74, guy I want to touch on really quickly. Very good young player, Sam Horsfield. He's coming over from the Euro Tour. He won twice over there last year, back in August. He's only 24 years old, but he went to the University of Florida, so he's very, very familiar with Florida golf courses. He's from England, but actually kind of grew up in the U.S. and went to the University of Florida. A very, very talented young player. Like I said, been successful on the Euro Tour since turning pro. I don't know that this is the greatest layout for him, He's more of a putter and does things with his short game rather than a ball striker, but he's a talented player we'll be seeing a lot of kind of when he makes his way over to America and starts playing on the PGA Tour. A couple other guys there in the low sevens, Andrew, Doug Gim, just continues to strike the ball well and continues to putt absolutely horribly. That's the type of player though that I'm willing to risk it with this week on this golf course. With some of the guys we've seen be successful here. So Doug Gim, I'm certainly interested in at 73. Peter Uihlein is coming off a victory on the Corn Ferry Tour a couple weeks ago. I think he had a T3 last week with Richie Wierenski at Zurich. So Uihlein's a guy that's trending up. If you want to kind of start throwing darts down here, and then a couple guys towards the bottom of the scale, Matthew Neesmith is a pretty sharp ball striker. A guy that we consider from time to time. Charles Schwartzel obviously made a run last week with Louis Oosthuizen, lost in a playoff, and he's a former champion here and also has a sixth place finish on his resume. So he's one of those major championship pedigree guys that we're targeting on this golf course. So you can give Charles Schwartzel a look in tournaments. And then your man, Andrew, the last guy I'm going to touch on in the 7Ks, is he back? Looked a little bit better at the Masters. Looked a little bit better last week at Zurich playing with Justin Rose. Henrik Stenson's been a beast on this golf course, Andrew. Has a T4 and a T7 over his last 5 Valspar starts. Is he back? Is the Iceman back?
No, he is not back. He is not back.
I don't think he is either.
I'd love to say he is because he is so. We're talking 3 years ago. He's a top 5 player in the world, Joe. And now he's 4 of his last 15 cuts made. I like Tom Lewis though at 6,900, but I'll tell you, we're down here in dart range at this point, Joe. I'm gonna throw out a name. Hits the ball long ways. Got Tennessee ties, and that is one and the other. Keith Mitchell hits the ball a long way. I'm not saying if he makes anything he can win, but this would be a golf course that would make more sense in rostering him, especially down there in that level. I kind of wish he was more in the 6,500 range, really, but I still like him. Now we're down here in the sixes dart range. Joe, is there anybody you're going to be looking at? I know you're going to mention Doc Redman at 6,600. I know you're going to throw out a few guys from Knoxville just because you can't help yourself. But I'm going to save my little talk on the 6 range till we get to the darts and hearts segment here in just a second. But, lack of time, Joe, who you like down here in the 6s?
Yeah, man, pretty skinny for me in the 6s this week, Andrew. We've been really fortunate over the last few weeks. I feel like we've been able to go down here fairly confidently. Stuart Sink certainly springs to mind from a couple weeks ago, and we've had a couple guys like that we've been able to talk about and feel confident paying for down there. I don't know that player's down there for me this week. At least he's not jumped out at me so far. We're doing this on Monday night. I'll toss a couple of ball strikers out. Kyle Stanley is a guy that's a horrible putter, but can always get really, really hot with the irons. So, I think he's worth considering. Camilo Villegas is a guy that's just kind of a sentimental favorite for me this year. We know he's been through a lot with losing his daughter, but he's actually played really, really well. Played good golf, fighting to keep his tour card, kind of continuing to try to churn. And he's played really well in Florida over the course of his career. So I'll throw Camilo Villegas out there. And then right above Doc, man, Chase Seifert's a guy that I've really been on. He's been a solid value play for me over the past 5-6 weeks. We've seen him play well in some alternate field events, and he's a great ball striker, man. Really hits the irons well, coming in hot. So I think you can look at Chase Seifert down there. As you get past him, man, no guys that really stick out other than kind of the guys I'm always going to mention. Wesley Bryan played well at Harbortown and has a T7 on his resume here. And then, of course, our boy Will Gordon, we'll shout out. We know he's an explosive player, but it's just not been there for him as of late. Looked like he was going to find some consistency, but really hasn't still. And that's kind of where I'm going to wrap it up this week, AP. I'm not going to go too far down the salary scale. I just don't think it's there, man. I'm looking for premium players on this golf course. It's a difficult track, and I feel like the cream's going to kind of rise to the top by the end of the week.
You got it. Cream rising to the crop. So darts and hearts. We went from the heart play of the week. Now we're up to darts and hearts after me and Joe laughingly came up with that a couple weeks ago. So this is going to be what we're going to close the show out with every week. So let's go first. Dart play, then heart play, Joe. Darts and hearts, where you at?
My dart play, I don't know if he's a dart. I'm going Doug Gim down there at 7,300. I just like the way he's been playing tee to green, and it only takes one good putting week, man. We've seen guys play really well here that are kind of historically bad putters. So my dart's Doug Gim. That's where I'm going. And my heart, man, my heart belongs in Canada this week, Andrew. We're moving out of the Southeast up to Big Great White North. I'm going Corey Connors as the heart play. I love him this week, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him win. He's 21-1 on FanDuel. I got a little piece of that today. So I'm with Connors all the way this week.
I don't hate either one of them. My dart play of the week is what I've already mentioned, Keith Mitchell, 7,000. Also like I love Ches Reavie on a golf course where the score is going to be 10 under or lower. His value shoots straight up for me because he's a grinder and he hits his irons good. Doesn't hit that far off the tee, though. That's the only thing that concerns me on this long golf course. And my heart play of the week is with one of my new favorite players, Jason Kokrak. He's a ball striker.
Love it.
He's got 3 top 10s in the last 5 years. Jason Kokrak, he might be my one and done this week, Joe. I'm not sure. But Jason Kokrak has my heart. Keith Mitchell on the dart. And before we leave, I want to give a shout out. We are currently in the PGA of America's National Championship, the PGA Professional National Championship, which is being held down. I don't even know where it's at, but the leader is former PGA Tour player Omar Aresti at 8 under. However, what's cool about this tournament is it's a collective of all the PGA professionals in the country, and the top 20 every year get to play in the PGA Championship. And our very own Braxton Hunter is tied for 19th after 2 rounds to go. He's a golf professional at Fairways and Greens here in Knoxville, old friend of mine. So this is a big turn shout out to you, Braxton Hunter. It's time to bring home some hardware, baby. Getting that top 20 so we can watch you on TV, bud. So I know he's fitted some clubs from friends of ours. So but anyway, that's all we have for tonight's show. I'm Andrew Putters. That's Joe Nicely. Thank you, rotoballer.com. Hit the like, hit the subscribe wherever it is you're listening to this, and you have listened to the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast.
With my closest, dearest friends, I decided that I'd give it one good try. But that was my first big mistake. I've already hit 3 in the lake. It's gonna drive